Welcome to the Successful Nurse Coach podcast. On this podcast, Laura
and Shelby, both board-certified nurse coaches, show you how to make as much money as you want in private practice as a nurse coach.
Hey guys, welcome to the Successful Nurse Coach podcast. We're coming to you live on Christmas Day, and it is Shelby and Laura. And we were really excited to create a Christmas episode, and this is what we came up with. And it is the Gift of Mentorship, Unlocking Your Potential. Isn't that a great podcast title? I love it. I feel like that's just very well thought out and somewhat professional and so unlike us. But we're going to take that really professional title and we are going to bring it to you Shelby Laura style. And we're really excited to unwrap it for you today. But before we dive in, we wanted to kind of plant a seed that our next podcast, we're going to make an announcement on January 1st about an offer that is brand new. We're so excited about it. We'll give you all the details next episode. And this offer is going to be live in February. So don't miss us next week. Come early, get the deets nice and early. And we'll also go by email to those of you who are on our email list.
Yay. Yeah. It's, I think that there are a few times a year to where Laura and I get a wild idea. And last year with being pregnant and I was a week away from giving birth this time last year, that my wild idea was bringing life into the world. Right. And so this year, there is space for fun, new, exciting projects. And this used to happen to us every 6 weeks when we first started our business. The downloads were just so quick, one right after the other. We could barely keep up. And now that we kind of have our feet under us, we get a lot of ideas, but a really good idea feels a little bit more rare. So now that we have one to really sink into that feels relevant, that feels special, we're really excited for 2024. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I totally feel like you and me are we get an idea and it's like a relay race. And it's I start with the pipe or whatever the thing is that you hold. And I'm I run. And I'm okay, I'm a little bit tired. Here you go. Keep going, keep going. And then that's kind of how we do things. And that's the beauty of partnership is that you're not running it alone. You're sharing the load of creation. And we like to create fast. We like idea to action to creation to happen pretty quickly. And this is one of those times. It's going to be super fun.
Yeah. So sorry to keep it a secret for one more week, but that's what we're going to do. Join us next time. We'll tell you all about it. Also, Merry Christmas if you're listening to this live. I hope that you get to, if you are listening to this on Christmas, plug into us for the next 30 minutes and then go be with your family. Go be in holiday mode, and we'll see you in the new year. But today we're going to talk about mentorship in kind of a different lens than we've given it before. Our nurse coaching mentorship is for those who are in private practice, who want a lucrative private practice. It's business coaching plus 500 other things, right? The business coaching is the all-encompassing term, but there is so much more that happens within those containers. And if you have been in the mentorship before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And we want to try and put that into words for you today of what is all of the extra stuff? Yes, we are going to teach you how to create clients. Yes, we are going to teach you how to make money. Yes, we're going to teach you so many things. And also there's a long list of other wonderful inner healing that happens. And we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah. And so often, and this is me included, I think Shelby included too, that when we think of hiring a business coach, it comes from this place of okay, is this a good investment? What is my ROI? Is this a risk? Is this a good risk? I know I need to invest in myself. Is this the right investment? Is there a better investment? Should I do a shorter thing? Should I do a longer thing? Blah, 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 blah. And very rarely we look at it intuitively like, this is a gift that I have the ability to give myself, and I just choose me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I choose me this year. I choose to spend this amount of money on myself, and I'm open to whatever that means. And I hope to start a business on the way that makes money, but I'm also open to all the other gifts that are going to be that are going to come along the way. And it's interesting because like when writing sales copy and marketing content for a business, and we teach you guys this, we have to hit on pain points. And as business coaches, we have to talk about what our clients are up to and what your return on investment probably looks like. Those are all really relevant things. And yet, I don't think we've spent the time it deserves to talk about all the unforeseen advantages that our mentees experience. And so, without naming names or identifying anyone, I just want to share some of the things I've witnessed and some of the unforeseen advantages that you and I have had, Shelby, and just as as the result of saying yes
Mm-hmm.
to our first go at this whole business thing with our first business coaches years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I rewind back to this period in time often, just trying to tap into like what it felt like, and to be honest, like how discombobulating that year was for me. Like there was my first deep dive probably into like personal awareness and personal development was definitely in certification, and that like cracked the shell, right? That's when I not only learned things but started putting them into action, and then hiring a business coach kind of just like escalated that 1,000 times over. And
Yeah,
it was, gosh, it was such a big leap onto having a dream, having a vision, and it not just being a dream or a vision anymore. Like I actually took action on the
yeah,
thing. That was really, really new for me. And it's translated all of these years later to where like I take my dreams and visions very, very seriously. Like if there's something that is just on my heart over and over and over again, I'm not going to wait for the next 25 years to figure
yeah.
out if it's actually what I'm supposed to do. Because even if it's not the thing, so say, I don't, gosh, the only dream and vision that's relevant to me right now is this commune that I can't
Your
stop
commune.
writing about or talking about or making jokes about. And like even if the commune is not the thing, even if all of the people in my DMs that say they want to be a part of it back out last minute, there's something about the pursuit that I know that I need to be a part of, right? There's something about just saying yes to exploring, to figuring it out, to figuring out the logistics, to having serious conversations with Rob. Like there's all of these things that following through, like there's so many nuggets there for me. And like kind
Yeah.
of like who cares if the commune ends up happening or not? I sure as hell hope that it does. But I find that so many people in my everyday life just treat their dreams and visions as just like cute daydreams and things that aren't serious,
That are going to always
and
be
that will
there.
always be
Yeah.
there, and they have all of this time to figure it out. And coaching in general, saying yes to my vision of a private practice has gifted, like that's ricocheted in many areas of my life, which has been really
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Conversely, for me, certification was not the first dive into self-development, but it was the first dive into self-development in a way that prepared me to do something with it. Because
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing, you can read all the self-help books, you can go to yoga classes, you can meditate, you can do all those things. And then at some point it's like, okay, but like why am I being compelled to do it? Like what am I going
Mm-hmm.
to do with this for the world? Like this is great for me, and that's wonderful, and also there's something for the world that wants to happen through me. And coaching was the first time I realized this is it. This is a clear path forward to like to use it all in a way that changes people. um and that feeling of like feeling like you found it, I'm so grateful for that feeling. That's like, I know a lot of people don't have that feeling ever in their lifetime, not
Yeah.
even like once.
Yeah.
And I know so many of our clients, they have that feeling on this journey. 'Cause the journey is like this whole divine like thing that they're compelled to go do. And certification is not the the summit, it's the beginning. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the beginning of something. Um, and so I see as like signing up for certification, deciding to do certification is if you were at the table and you showed your hands and you're like really excited, and then like investing in your business and giving yourself the gift of mentorship is like doubling down,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like, okay, let it ride. Let's let this ride.
Yeah.
Um, that's like a really pivotal moment for people in general, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah. It's doubling down on like the no matter what happens, I'm just going to be committed. It at the very minimum for the next 12 months, right? At the very
Yes.
least of, life is always going to happen. There's always going to be something. And when you're in the mentorship, you are committing to 12 months of figuring out whatever that means. And that means like literally 100 different things for 100 different people.
Yeah.
But I think that that's really also an asset of hiring a business mentor versus a business coach. Of like, we are going to be side by side with you. We are going to be step by step with you and figuring out what alignment means over the next 12 months versus hiring. And there's nothing wrong with business coaching. I don't mean to pit one against the other, but I think that there is something to be said about hiring someone with many, many years of experience, and because we know that it works out 100 different ways. Like, I'm not going to get hung up
Yeah.
on if your journey is different from the next. Like, it's not a reflection really of anything. We just get to
Yeah.
we get to create with you, alongside you, and allow it to feel good, and also push the heck out of you too, and encourage you to achieve more than you ever thought possible.
Yeah. Yeah. As I'm sitting here thinking about being in this role, I think of someone on our team. I coached her when she was in certification. Um, and I'm not going to give, I mean, it doesn't matter if I give a bunch of details away. You guys will have to guess one out of four, five people who it is. Um, and sick money story, in a job she didn't like, trying to do all the things, feeling burnt out, having a really hard time asking for money. And like I've watched her grow in every single area of her life, in her spirituality, in all of her relationships. And for her, it has not been easy and she has not strayed. She just keeps doubling down. It's like, oh, time to make a decision. I'll double down again. And her life, I think she's at 3 years in, approximately 3 years in. It's like unrecognizable. Every area,
Hmm.
not just like making money and enjoying your career. Like it's far reaching, it's completely transformative. Um, I think of that as like so much more valuable. Like the gift of mentorship can be the beginning of that. And that's so much more valuable than like, you'll learn how to make, 10K months and six figures. And that's great. But there's just lots of business programs I think that fall flat in that way. And it's a lot of hype and it's a lot of great marketing and it works to get people to invest in. And thankfully, I haven't had to do that yet, is make a bad investment for that. Because when I hired Christina, I thought she was going to tell me what to do and give me strategy, which she kind of did, but holy smokes, it was like opening up Pandora's box of like who I was and the depth of who I was.
Hmm.
It was an extraordinary experience. Totally not what I thought, which is really what it always boils down to. It never
Hmm.
is what you think it's going to be.
Never, never. Best plot twist ever. Um, yeah, I think that true transformation empowers you to be your own alchemist, right? So like, there's this is like a foundational layer to build upon. Even I hear this a lot in the mentorship of like, I am nowhere where I thought I was going to be, and yet
Yeah.
I know exactly I'm meant to be right here. Like, I'm meant to be
Hmm.
right here in this moment, in these circumstances. And like, how much more empowering that is than, and joyful, honestly. Like, how much more joy is there for you when we can be in acceptance of like, all right, I'm leaning into the process. I am trusting the process, and this just doesn't it's just not relevant for only your business, but it's relevant to every area of your life ever. Like
Yeah.
it ricochets deeply and holistically, to sound a little cheesy here, everywhere. Like the beliefs, the new beliefs that you
Yeah.
create and the new foundation that you lay, it's for your whole life. It's not just in your private
Yeah.
practice.
I feel like another like unexpected outcome is that, and we coach mainly women. If you're a man out there listening, hit us up. We want you in our mentorship. We love coaching men.
Mm-hmm.
The men we have coached, we have really, really enjoyed. But primarily, y'all listening to this are women. And uh, what I found is like in each of you having the conversation with your partner, it's like one of the first times you've ever really asked for what you need in your marriage,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that, it's the beginning of like having a voice for you, like you, the soul part of you, the part of you that desires to be fully expressed, and for what you came to earth to do, apart from your role as, the insurance provider and the housekeeper and the wife and the kids and the taxi and all the things. Like we get so lost in these tasks that we do that a lot of times mentorship certification is the beginning of, and then mentorship is the claiming of, this is deeply important to me and I want to give the gift of this to myself, and I'm not afraid to ask for support.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not asking permission. I don't need anybody to understand. I'm just asking people to support the decision I've already made for myself. That's insanely empowering. And lots of women don't experience that at all until this decision. And
Mm-hmm.
that's been unique to watch. And it was like that for you and I. I think it was trepidatious for us to ask our husbands to support us. And we both were surprised by the outcome. We're like, oh, he said yes. Oh,
Yeah.
guess we're doing it. I guess we're doing it.
Yeah. I know we've told that story like 100 times, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's this conditioning that's happened, and gosh, I'm not an expert like theologian here on how women are conditioned to play a certain role like in society. Like I know that there's a whole bunch of components that factor into that, and but like I Rob and I were newly married. We dated, the majority of the time that we dated was literally across the world. Like actually I was in the States and he was in South Korea, like a lot. We spent a lot of time apart. So I didn't have this huge track record. Like we had a track record of being together, but like doing life together was really new. And he had never done anything ever that was not supportive, or what I would classify as not supportive. Every time I was excited about something, I wanted to do something, he was always all in. He was on my team, and it was really, really helpful. But even when I went to go ask him to be like, hey, I'm going to make this $10,000 investment and I'm kind of freaking out, and I think that this coach can help me. I don't know of any other coach that can help me, but like I really want to have my own private practice, and I think this is my best shot. I really thought he was going to say no, and it, somehow that had any power over what I actually did, and so it was like a really interesting moment in time, especially to reflect on now. And I
Yeah.
understand that big investments require conversations with your partner. That is absolutely necessary. We are all for that. But again, too, it's just like, I kind of like have this like hope and dream that like true support is not just your partner saying that they support you in whatever that you want to do, but
Yeah.
it's like the action that follows that as well. Like that
Yeah.
would be like my biggest hope and
Yeah.
dream for people that want to start their own business, and it's a big ask. Like it's not small.
Yes.
But I know that almost every single person listening to this right now would do the same for their partner, right? If it was,
Yeah.
like they would meet them there in that moment.
And I always say this could be the beginning of everything shifting for both of you. You could maybe go first, and we see this happening.
Mm-hmm.
So the wife goes first, she starts a business, she has success, there becomes some space, the husband starts to catch the bug, like, oh my gosh, I don't really love my job, I really like, maybe we should go do this. Like, it awakens the dreamer, it awakens the creator in the relationship, in the marriage. It shakes things up in such a delicious way, and in a way that you really can't lose. You can't lose from trying and being inspired. Like
Yeah.
that path, I know our egos can say that. I remember, I mean, Evan supported me. I'm doing air quotes right now for those of you not watching the video. He supported me, but it was conditional. Yeah, it was very conditional for 5 months until we hired a couples coach and I had a breakdown in front of him and he realized that he hadn't been supporting me, that he was
Mm.
trying to, but he didn't really. And lots of our clients experience that as well. We had a client want to just put the mentorship on a secret credit card. And I said, no. Would you ever want to hire a coach that was unable to have a hard conversation with their partner? Like, we
Mm-hmm.
have to be a product of the product. Like, we have to do the hard things first. And a lot of these hard things is taking this first big risk and betting on ourselves and giving the gift of space and time for a dream to be realized in a
Yeah.
really practical way. I feel like I'm preaching right now, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. It's true. This is a big moment. I was literally just talking to someone in my DMs this morning about this exact same thing. And she's like, I need support, and having this
Yeah.
conversation with my husband. And I encouraged her. I was like, what does support mean to you? Getting really clear on that and then asking for that from your husband, right? Like, what does support mean?
Yeah.
Because I think that that can just mean so many different things. And then if we're not able to like qualify it or quantify it, it can become really vague and it can be conditional. And you guys don't even realize that you're in different chapters of the same book or in different books altogether.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And I think of, and I don't mean to, I love using motherhood kind of like to parallel here of like, okay,
Hmm.
because it's so relevant to me, right? Of I have two girls. I want them to be whatever version of themselves that they crave to be in the world. I hope they grow up with an entrepreneurial spirit about them, but like if that's not the case, then that's okay too. But I think about the example that I set for them all the time, and the example that my marriage sets for my children all the time. And I want my kids to know that having hard conversations is not something to be avoided. It's something that you embrace in marriage, and to set an example for that, and to um, maybe not have every hard conversation in front of our kids, but like to have disagreements in front of our kids, to where they see
Yeah.
repair, right? To where, and just thinking about if you can, if this is the moment, if this is kind of the first time that you get to ask for true support, like what kind of imprint that leaves on your legacy, on your kids, and like the future
Yeah.
relationships they get to have, like that is, oh, it's a motivator for a lot of uncomfy conversations that I have. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 'cause we do so much more for our kids than we can do for ourselves. I think that and that's a disservice, right? Because we're actually modeling what it looks like to be an adult and in a relationship when it comes to that. And as you were talking, I was thinking of like the gift of mentorship and like these things that happen as the result of it. And it reminded me of like an artist that signs up to do an art class. And the artist is like, okay, I'm going to pay $10,000 to learn how to be an artist and sell my art. And my teacher is going to teach me exactly how to do this. And it's like, yeah, but it's up to you what medium you use. It's up to you what you draw, how often you draw, how big your pictures are, how small your pictures are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's this element of intrinsic value, and you even getting and somebody even putting a piece of paper for you to create on.
Yeah.
It's so much less about us instructing you and telling you how to do it so that you get XYZ. And it's so much more intrinsically value for you saying, I'm worth sitting in front of a blank canvas for a year
Mm-hmm.
and seeing what happens. Because where else do we get to do that? Life's always happening,
Yeah.
and happening to us, and we're reacting to it. instead of creating what we want. And I think that coaching in general is for a lot of people the beginning of creating life, not reacting to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I want to take our mentorship after listening to us talk. It's so good.
I mean, we're both in the throes of awesome coaching containers right now. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's why what's coming out is like we are drinking the Kool-Aid. I had a session right before we recorded this. We're drinking the Kool-Aid, which then we can talk about the Kool-Aid in ways that make the Kool-Aid sound and taste wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else, Shelby, like with clients, like what are some other things that you've seen happen that are away from the financial goals and the business skills, like the other things?
Yeah. One of the biggest ones I see often is people exploring personal boundaries for the first time
Yeah,
and like having like follow through on what they say they're going to do. So like personal integrous boundaries of like, I said I was going to do this thing. Now I'm going to do this thing, right? Like building this inner trust and then also instating boundaries with people in their life, you know, that may not fully
yeah,
understand or get it. And like, that's a whole different podcast episode, but, you know, just being the carrier of the vision is something that I see people step into. And I think that this also directly relates into healing or the beginning of healing
yeah,
people pleasing tendencies. Like this is a really, really, and codependent tendencies as well.
yeah.
Nurses, not to overgeneralize here. What's that statistic, Laura? You tell me this all the time.
Oh my gosh, I was just I don't know. It's high. It's one of the highest industries for
Yeah.
codependency. I want to say it's the 70s. 70% of nurses are probably clinically codependent.
Yeah. Yeah. And this has been my experience as well of like realizing that I was a people pleaser and realizing that I am codependent in some ways, and it's not like the traditional what I was educated originally on, like what a people pleaser looks like or
Yeah,
what a codependent looks like, but like in my work with clients, I think for maybe the first 2 years of my business I was codependent completely on my clients' outcomes. You know, like if they were okay
yeah,
then I was okay, and if they weren't okay in any sort of way then I'm freaking the f out over here. And
yeah,
that is significantly less. Oh my God, it's so much more tolerable these days because um, I've spent a lot of time and energy and resources to support myself in that. And also, I've just learned the past few years that like discomfort is a really great fuel source, right? So I should not be taking away my clients' discomfort to fuel transformation. And so I also see this in my clients as well, like kind of
yeah,
probably one of the top three things that we support people in their inner work is this piece right here.
yeah. I think that the other big one, and this, I'm coming fresh off of recording a previous podcast with Tammy Hurst, and Tammy, oh my gosh, if you haven't heard that episode, go back and listen to it. But we were talking about like this highlights for the first time. You sit down to do your business, you get it all set up, you get the assignments from us, you have to invite people into conversations, and immediately and subconsciously you place all these people in your life into different categories. The people that you feel safe asking and the people that you don't feel safe asking.
Mm,
Because the people that don't feel safe asking are better, smarter, richer, skinnier, more beautiful, whatever, and you're not even aware that you've put all these like hierarchies and pedestals around you with all your interpersonal relationships. And through her no challenge, she came face to face with that. She said to Amy Frame, her coach, she's like, I've already asked everybody I know um into coaching. And Amy Amy giggled and say, uh, is that true? And she realized she had excluded a huge category of humans for multiple reasons that she didn't realize. And then through asking everybody in her life if they wanted a session, even if it scared her, even if her hands shook at work. She did this at work.
mm,
Um, the people that she thought would say yes didn't say yes. The people she thought would say no said yes. And she realized that coaching is human to human. It's the great equalizer. So
mm-hmm,
all pedestals fell away. So now you're able to have conversations about anything with anybody. And this is freedom. This is like freedom. And I
mm-hmm.
experienced this to the nth degree. That would be like for me, and the way that that's impacted my life would be worth $100,000. Like if I could have transactionally paid $100,000 to not be afraid to have conversations with people. And as I say that, I'm like, there's still a few, but uh, for the most part, um, I can have conversations with anyone, and that changes how you are at work. It changes how you talk to doctors, people with authority,
Mm-hmm.
leaders in your community, and you realize you're actually one of them,
Yeah.
right? Like it's completely changes your self-concept. Like that is one of my most favorite gold nuggets of the an unforeseen advantage
Mm-hmm.
of going for it of your mentorship year. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it kind of like begs the next phase, right? Of what's possible from this place. What's possible when
Yeah.
you're not afraid.
Yeah.
And then it's like the second big can of worms that we get to crack open with you, right? It's like there's another mentee that is in one of my groups, and she was having she kind of like went buku on connection during September and October. And
Hmm.
it was something that she wasn't particularly excited about before this, but she found like she just did it anyway. And all of these people were just reflecting back to her of, oh my God, yes, this is what we've been looking for. I want to bring you in immediately. This is like, thank you for reaching out. Like she's like the most perfectly qualified person to talk to this certain group of people. And they instantly recognized it with her, and that's shifted her whole business. Like she had a $10,000
Yeah.
week last week, like huge, huge wins. And so, it's kind of interesting to be able to take a big pool of people and be able to like, dude, what was your moment, of like when everything just changed. And
Yeah.
it's seemingly small, but the ripple effect is forever, which is amazing.
Yeah. I think the bow I'd like to wrap up this episode in is that um, deciding to start a business, gifting yourself mentorship, gifting yourself 12 months is changing from a life of probability where you're constantly checking and scanning your history and seeing what's probable in a situation to seeing possibility. And that's a huge shift because if you live your entire life all just reflecting what happened before, making all your decisions based on that, your life never changes. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a predetermined trajectory that you just kind of, it happens to you. And we see this with family members and friends, and
Yeah.
like this is the human condition. And then when you shift into possibility, this is where crazy things happen in your life, where you have things that you could never imagine, where you're doing things that you could never imagine. Like it takes that shift. And sometimes that shift it doesn't happen in certification. It happens when you continue down this path. And that is so valuable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's so good. It's so good. And oh gosh, I think that also too, to add another bow on top of that bow of like all
yeah.
of our folks that I know that there's a big question of like, well, do I hire a one-on-one or do I start my business? What is the right order? Whatever. Like really honestly, just making a decision and getting started is the correct answer. However, I want to add this too of like starting your own business, in particular a coaching business, one where you are exploring authentic connection and expression, one that is operated from a place of integrity, one that is in total alignment with who you want to be in the world. That is like setting up the greatest obstacle course for personal healing and inner work.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like envisioning an American Ninja Warrior course in my head, right? Of like, in order to
Yeah.
be create safety in your body, you have this exercise, and in order to have authentic expression and feeling safe and being seen and heard, there's this exercise. And um, with entrepreneurship and creating your business,
Mm,
it's all set up for you. Like we're gonna get there
yeah.
through these exercises, kind of no
Yeah.
matter what. And that you are
Yeah.
capable of it.
Yeah. You're not reading about the obstacle course, you're doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. You're not listening to Shelby and Laura on this podcast talk about the obstacle course. You're doing it.
You're in it.
Yeah.
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 Give yourself the gift of the obstacle course.
Yeah. There's something in you that really wants to play, that really, really wants to play. Ah. All right, team. Well,
All right, guys. Well, I think we're gonna sign off for the year. This is our last podcast of this year. Come see us next Monday when we share our secret that we're really, really excited about. And I hope that if you are listening to this today, that it's because you took a walk and are taking some time to yourself. And I know that holidays with family can sometimes be incredibly difficult. And I hope that this added to your day if you're listening to it today. And Merry Christmas to you and your family. It's been a hell of a year. Next year's going to be incredible.
Yeah. We love you. We love you. Happy 2023. See you in 2024.